So, hello everybody out in LinkedIn world. This is Howard Eisenberg, Technology Consulting Director at NCC Data. And if you've ever seen any of the videos I've done in the past, it's always been a one-on-one interview or a conversation with technology leaders, typically in the communication space. However, given the political season that we're in, I figured we'd format that we might want to have is something similar to a debate minus the mudslinging. And I wanted to bring three leaders on board today to talk about what's happening in the unified communication space. Everyone uses unified communications. It's pretty much ubiquitous across the world these days. And especially in the last couple years, it has become an absolute necessity if an organization wants to continue to operate with any sense of fluidity and profitability, frankly, need to have a real unified communication strategy. So I wanted to bring on three leaders, and the companies that I chose are all in the Gartner Magic Quadrant Leader section. We have Zoom, we have RingCentral, and we have 8x8 represented. And when I reached out to each of those companies, they thankfully introduced me and sent over three engineers, not three salespeople. So we're going to get the real scoop without a lot of fluff from these gentlemen, and I'm very glad to have them on board. So first of all, allow them to introduce themselves, and as I like to do, I also want to have them maybe give a little color about themselves beyond their job title, and say a little bit of something about themselves that maybe not everyone knows. So I'm just going to start off in the order that I have them on the screen. John, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm John Nelms. I'm a solutions engineer here at Zoom, and I've been talking tech since '98, so quite a while. And something that most people probably don't know about me is I'm in Austin. So of course you got to have like a country western band in Austin. So I front a country band. So there's the look. That's kind of my side hustle, you might say.
Awesome, John. I never would have known. So thank you. Thanks for sharing. Tony, how about you?
Hey there. My name is Tony Poer. I'm from Flagstaff, Arizona, and I own channel sales engineering here at 8x8. I've been here for a little over 5 years, but I've been in the industry doing SE work for a variety of different vendors for just shy of 20 years. Something you might not know is that I've got not one, but two surgically repaired wrists due to a series of pretty horrific bicycling accidents. So I used to front a band, just like John, but not anymore.
Your wrist won't allow it, huh?
Not yet.
I hear you. And Flagstaff's beautiful. I was just up there earlier this year, and a lot of people don't know it's one of the highest cities in the United States.
It is indeed.
Beautiful out there. So Jim, why don't you share a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Howard. So I'm Jim Szostek. I am a channel solutions engineer for RingCentral based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Technically, I live in Fort Worth. I've been with RingCentral about 5.5 years, but I've been in the UCaaS space starting in 2001, starting with a Norwegian video conferencing company called Timbre back in the day. A known fact, kind of similar to John, I don't front a band, but I'm a big connoisseur of music. The more obscure punk or garage rock, I'm into it, and can neither confirm nor deny by be wearing leather pants right now.
Okay, that sounds good. You know what, Jim? We'll leave that up to mystery. How about that? So, okay, well, great. To jump right into this, obviously, as I mentioned, unified communications is absolutely critical for an organization to have a successful strategy to bring their organizations together. Whether they're a small business or a global enterprise, it really is critical that communication be efficient within an organization. So, we'll start off with this first question. Why don't you list off what you consider the top 3 benefits that your particular company, provides to customers when it comes to a unified communication strategy? And Jim, since you're right on my screen, why don't you go ahead and go first?
That's a good question. So probably the first one, I would say that one of the 3 benefits, first one with RingCentral is first and foremost our continuous innovation. We are improving our platform continuously. We're aggressive with our software updates every 12 weeks, new updates, new functions, new features, further enhancements to existing functions and features. So our customers are never left with a platform older than 12 weeks old. Second important part, I'd say, is security. We put a lot of effort into securing our platform, making sure that it's up, stable. We put a lot of effort into our reliability in terms of our 5 nines backbone, but also for those customers in certain verticals, such as healthcare with our HIPAA compliancy, and financial with our FinTrust and HITRUST and FINRA certifications. We work very well with that. And then the third part is probably our flexibility in terms of our core product or flagship RingCentral MVP, but tagging that maybe with RingCentral Contact Center. And on top of that, the extensibility with our open API, where we have our app gallery, well over 250 pre-built apps, but full customization with our open API for our customers.
Excellent. Thanks, Jim. Tony, how about your view regarding 8x8?
Yeah, there's 3 key reasons people choose 8x8 for their UC needs. First and foremost, it's because we offer a complete single platform solution for both UCaaS and CCaaS. So that reduces your total cost of ownership. It can simplify administration. It can simplify license provisioning, gives you a single integration and security framework, provides visibility and reporting to every user. And our SLAs, they apply across the entire technology stack, not just on UC or just on CC. We call this combined system approach Experience Communications as a Service, or XCaaS. Secondly, we've got global coverage capabilities. We've got full PSTN replacement in 54 countries. That's supported by 35 different global data centers. Third, our direct routing integration with Microsoft Teams. That gives you a ton of flexibility if Teams is part of your communications ecosystem. We've sold over 200,000 Voice for Teams licenses, and 8x8 is chosen for direct routing integration roughly 4 times more often than other competitors in our space. So if you're going to boil it down, we offer XCaaS, which is a complete communication solution. It can be delivered anywhere in the globe, and it's certified for Teams.
Okay. And John, Zoom being the newcomer to the UCaaS space, relatively speaking, what are the top 3 things that you think really Zoom contributes to a unified communication strategy?
Yeah, I think first, we definitely hit on the same cylinder there on the purpose-built platform that's all in one. We were video first, right? So we kind of did things backwards than the rest of the industry. But you think about a day in the life and what I do, and what a lot of folks do. They go to the chat client first. They escalate something to a voice call. They escalate to a video call. Maybe they want to do some collaboration with whiteboarding, and move maybe a call to their mobile device. And so that platform is key to being able to do all those things really well. And so we strive to make it super simple and flexible. And that's the second point, is really the flexibility there, the flexibly secure platform that we have. I use my mobile device probably as much as I do my desktop, which I'm taking this call on right now, but just as easy. I talked to someone last week who was using an Amazon Echo Show device to take a Zoom call. So, it's pretty incredible the number of devices that we can flexibly use and still have them connect securely back to Zoom Cloud. And the third thing I'll mention is the whole notion of our Zoom One product line. And it's so simple, not only from a licensing perspective, but really for everything that it includes, our core platform. And it comes down to, I always tell people, it's the want versus have. So a lot of organizations have to use a communications platform. They want to use Zoom.
Okay, excellent. So, we've all lived through some pretty incredible experiences over the last 2.5 years. I know all of your organizations, all of your companies were really pushing this, work from anywhere model before COVID happened. And it was, in many cases, an uphill battle to convince a lot of companies that they really needed to take it seriously. And then, 2020 happened and things changed overnight. Everyone had to make a change. And things are continuing to evolve. Now we went from everyone at home to a hybrid model to back and forth, and who knows what tomorrow is going to bring. What do you feel the most important unified communication contribution this technology brings to bring a successful hybrid approach? Because that's really where we're approaching. John, what do you think the kind of strength there of Zoom comes in, and to really deliver a good experience from this new hybrid model that we all kind of find ourselves in these days.
Yeah, we absolutely became a household name, whether we like it or not, during the last 2 years. And really it was household, right? So a lot of it was a lot of people just using it from home, and it became very synonymous with ease of use video meetings. And so I think a lot of that stemmed from just how easy it was to download it to your mobile device and press join meeting. I could also join a meeting just as easy from my desktop. And so when people started to re-enter the workplace, and we've seen that really pick up here in the last probably 18 months, people getting back into the workplace, and they don't necessarily have the same real estate that they used to have. In other words, people are not flocking to the workplace as often as they did before. It's not a 5-day-a-week work schedule. A lot of employers are becoming very flexible with how they allow people to work. Hey, I'm going to work from home 2 days a week and go into the office 3 days a week, something to that effect. And I know even at Zoom, we've done that, right? We've started to open our offices and allow people to work both remote and in the office. And we don't necessarily have offices for those people to come into that are not, that have their name placard on the outside. And I think a lot of organizations are like that. They've moved into this kind of guest cubicle, guest office, guest conference room where you can go into the workplace and sit down at a desk and use it for the day. And so what we've developed with Zoom is workspace reservation. And this allows us to take that floor plan for a building or multiple floors, multiple buildings, multiple sites, and upload those into our admin console. And once you do that, once you've uploaded them, you can set aside certain conference rooms, certain cubicles, certain offices, so that you can reserve those spaces. And so as I walk into an office, I can pull out my mobile device and reserve a spot directly on this device. I can look at the floor plan, I can select it, and then choose that workspace for a matter of hours, for a full day if I want to. Maybe I'm going to be there for a week, maybe I'm going to be there a couple of weeks. I reserve it for the period of time that I want, and then that way everyone else sees that John Nelms is in that space and that no one else is going to take over that workspace. That could even be something as like a conference room. And I think of like the conference rooms that people used to go into before the pandemic, and they would, you'd see the big Polycom phone or whoever phone you sit on the desk, and you enter all the numbers, right? Enter the numbers to dial in, and then you have to fumble around and find your ID for your bridge. And we've aimed to take that complexity out. I don't have to fumble around for an HDMI cable and go plug in. I can walk into that conference room now. It knows who I am because I've reserved that workspace and I've paired my device with it. And now I walk in there, it says, oh, John Nelms probably wants to join his 2:00 meeting. Press the button on the display, TV comes on, the audio comes on, the video comes on, and we have a meeting. So it's a lot easier now in the workplace, regardless of whether you're working from home or you're at the office. We've really tried to make that feature parity the same, because people really came to know how easy it was to use Zoom. And now when they go into the office, we want to extend that functionality there as well.
Excellent. So Jim, how about RingCentral? Where do you, how do you see RingCentral helping companies get to a successful hybrid, communication environment?
From my perspective, it's really with the analytics that RingCentral provides that's built into our platform, with being work from anywhere, being hybrid in the office. Both business leaders and IT leaders have to have some level of insight to how their employees are being productive. So with our analysis, we can kind of have very customizable KPIs to where business leaders can kind of get the idea of productivity of their employees, get insight to call handling, call volume, and even visualize a lot of that information to uncover maybe trends that they did not know or existing, and they can be actionable upon that. And on top of that, from an IT perspective, the QoS reports or quality service reports that we include with our platform give some very insightful intelligence to those IT folks to identify quality issues from a network perspective, being able to see where a person is located, what kind of statistics like packet loss, etc., and being able to identify, or what I like to call muscle behind the finger pointing, to identify and troubleshoot those issues. And then on top of that, with our included reporting or analytics, is ability to be proactively notified when maybe a physical phone comes offline, maybe the CEO's phone's disconnected. You want to be able to take action before that becomes an issue for the customer. So, summarizing, analytics I think is really the key, one of the key aspects especially for that hybrid type environment for our customers.
I definitely agree. That's very beneficial. Paul, what's from your perspective, what do you think 8x8 brings to the table here?
Yeah, so I mean, being cloud-based is table stakes, right? I think everybody on this call probably agrees. I wouldn't even consider an on-prem solution if remote or hybrid work was part of the requirements list. And obviously having collaboration tools, meetings and chat, all of that's crucial. You got to be able to pivot from chat to a call or to a meeting and be able to share documents and collaborate in real time just as efficiently as if you were in the office together. I think probably all vendors have a solution here, even if sometimes it's not, a homegrown solution. But to Jim's point, having platform-wide reporting and analytics, including speech analytics, that's going to give you visibility into every single interaction, regardless of where your team is working, whether it's at home or in the physical office. And that applies to not only users that might be more of a contact center environment, but also your back office workers, right? Think about if you don't have visibility into call quality, behavior, but actual call content, you're missing out on a huge opportunity, right? Think about the trends you might uncover utilizing speech analytics on all of your calls, whether it's pricing concerns, competitive information, even the mapping of best practices, whether that's an inside sales team, it could be with HR, with your IT help desk. Having the ability to not just take the metadata and the analytical data about call quality and how many calls have come in or out, but actually mine the content of every single one of those interactions, I think is going to give you a huge leg up that you wouldn't get from just having someone deployed remotely to another location. I sound like a broken record sometimes, but I always say if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if your solution doesn't provide enough data to understand what your employees are doing, regardless of where they're doing it, it's definitely falling short.
Definitely. Gotcha. So, John, what about your perspective on that?
Well, I will say that in terms of what we're doing in the metrics world that y'all are talking about, we have done some amazing things with artificial intelligence. I feel like that's probably, as the industry as a whole, and really outside of communications, you look at all of technology, and AI it's quickly emerging as the most disruptive force in technology right now. And I will say that when we look at our platform and what we're doing with Zoom Contact Center, what we're doing with Zoom Phone, Zoom Meetings, we've got a new product out called Zoom IQ for Sales that does some amazing analytics. And the whole measuring is gold, Tony, because you cannot measure where you're at if you don't have the right tools in place. And so the fact that we're able to do that and quantify some of those metrics from, like when I think of a sales team, would it be great if I was a sales manager and knew what my sales team was doing and how they're actually performing their jobs and scoring them on a personal basis on each one of their calls. Then I could break down those calls and see what keywords were said during that time. It's pretty incredible in terms of how we can interact with the amount of data now that we're gathering on calls. So absolutely. I mean, I agree with my colleagues here that it's that the analytics are a huge helper to have when you've got so many people that you're trying to manage from the workforce perspective.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the new technology that's really kind of changing the environment, and unified communication really has to do with that, do with the analytics. Jim, is there anything you want to add to that as far as new technology that's coming down the road that you're excited about, that you see kind of driving change in this industry?
I kind of echo what John said. I think AI, we're at the beginnings where AI is going to have some really significant impact in our industry, even specifically with RingCentral. It's an integral part of our RingCentral Contact Center platform from the perspective of sentiment analysis, workforce optimization, etc. But even with our RingCentral video platform, where we've introduced it early this year for when recording video calls, getting a full transcript of that call, getting a meeting brief summary. So for example, you have an hour call and the day of being triple booked at the same time, going back and reviewing a 2-minute summary of that 1 hour meeting is very, very impactful. Or going back and reviewing certain key aspects of a meeting. For example, we might have product training and I want to see the top 3 new features. There are keywords that AI will implement in that video recording where I can go click on that and go exactly to that part of the call without having to review an hour call to find it. So AI, we're at the beginning of it, very, very impactful, and it's going to be exciting to see where the rest of 2023 and beyond AI takes not only RingCentral, but our industry as a whole.
Great. Yeah, I think that's a pretty universal theme, is that AI is really changing the entire environment when it comes to unified communications. Are there any other technology innovations, Tony, that you see beyond AI, or maybe even further enhancing that AI experience that people out there are going to be taking advantage of in the next few years?
Well, AI is the obvious answer for everybody, right? It's a core part of all of our platforms. I don't want to speak for the other guys, but it's the fact, right? Everyone's using AI not just as a product or a feature that they sell, but it's just a core element of the overall platform. And it'd probably be faster to list out the things that AI isn't involved in than to list out the things that it's just providing from a beneficial standpoint. I look at AI, or I look at the technologies that are going to kind of wrapped around AI, is what can we do to help streamline interactions with the rest of your office workers, right? We typically think about AI as a contact center play first. Jim mentioned, and I think John also mentioned, some really cool stuff that AI can do from a meetings perspective with regard to transcription and tagging. We can transcribe meetings, we can allow you to tag certain spots in meetings, but also think about how we can apply that to regular business interactions that are maybe not necessarily meetings, not necessarily contact center calls, right? If I can make your auto attendant more efficient and get an interaction to the right person as quickly as possible. If I can apply sentiment analysis to the transactions that are coming in to know whether or not a customer is really upset or if they're in a good mood, is that going to change the way that we handle that interaction? So our goal overall is to help streamline every single interaction, whether it's a phone call, a chat, an SMS, a video call. The quality and the ease of use for all of those is going to be a reflection of your business. So you should be definitely working with a company that embraces AI as a part of their strategy. That's really where I think we're probably all putting all of our chips into, is using those technologies to make everything more efficient and more accessible for our users.
Great. So, to wrap up, just to kind of give you guys an opportunity to summarize on why, viewers out there that are looking to make changes in their unified communication environment, whether it's moving from on-prem onto the new cloud world, or, changing their cloud provider when it comes to unified communications, summarize what, start with you, Tony. Why do you think that 8x8's really the place to be, one of the companies that really needs to be on the viewer's short list here?
Yeah. There's a Metrigy research study that came out late last year that outlines that if you get your integrated calls, meetings, messaging, and contact center on a single cloud platform, it results in a 56% lower total cost of ownership compared to a multi-vendor strategy. So if you're like most customers, you're not just looking to change out one aspect of your communications portfolio. You're probably looking to make changes across the board. And it stands to reason that you should be looking at a solution that can add the most value. Generally speaking, that means the XCaaS platform from 8x8, which can deliver all of those functions in a single pane of glass. And I mentioned it earlier, but if Microsoft Teams is even remotely part of your ecosystem, and it is for roughly half of the businesses that are out there, you're probably going to want calling plans and features that Teams might not offer natively. So with 8x8 Direct Routing, you can integrate seamlessly with Teams, and that offers functionality like SMS, faxing, IVR, auto attendant, even call recording and speech analytics across the board. So in short, 8x8 is agile, we're global, we're reliable with our 99.999% uptime SLA across the entire portfolio. We're certified by Microsoft if you're a Teams user, and we've been named a 10-time leader in the UCaaS quadrant by Gartner.
Fantastic. Tony, thank you. Jim, why don't you go ahead and summarize why you think Ring should always be on a customer short list when it comes to looking at unified communications?
So RingCentral simply, we're the trusted market leader that has the most innovative, reliable, easy to use platform. We've always had the belief being able to communicate on any mode, from any device, from anywhere, and we've been since day one, and continue to do that as well.
Excellent. And John, why don't you go ahead and wrap up? What's the number one reason or couple reasons why Zoom really needs to be on the short list of all our decision makers out there?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet here. Zoom is one secure platform that's both easy to manage and scale, and that people truly enjoy using because of the productivity that it brings. And if you're looking for that communications platform that's going to grow with you and continue to improve, then look no further than Zoom.
Great. Well, I want to thank all of you, John, Tony, and Jim. Really appreciate your time here and sharing your views of your respective companies. If you viewers are out there, if you are looking to connect with any of these three, or frankly, all of these three, we'd love to be the conduit that brings the right resources within each of these companies to your table, help you narrow down to get to that short list, saving you quite a bit of time in this decision process and making sure that only the right providers are put in front of you to make the right decision. Please reach out to us here at NCC Data. We'd love to help out. And again, thank you very much for taking your time and watching this today. Hopefully you gained some insights.
Thank you for having me, Howard.
Thanks, everybody.